Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Professional Development Workshop series on technology integration in CKLA and Envisions Mathematics. I'm so excited to work with you over the next several sessions as we explore practical classroom-ready ways to use technology to improve student engagement, formative assessment, and alternative demonstrations of learning. Since Ely Elementary goes from kindergarten to fourth grade, this workshop was designed specifically for kindergarten through fourth grade teachers and focuses on tools that are free, easy to implement, and directly connected to instruction that we are already doing every single day. So, why are we doing this? Before we begin learning new tools, I want to spend a few minutes talking about why are we doing this work. As teachers, we already use technology in many ways. But one thing that emerged from our workplace needs assessment survey that so many of you so graciously did for me, so thank you very much if you completed that, was that many of us want stronger ways to make learning more interactive, collect meaningful student data, and give students more opportunities to show what they know beyond the traditional worksheets and paper and pencil assessments that we kind of got used to doing. Our goal, of course, is not to add more to our plate as, again, teachers are so overwhelmed and have little to no time to learn or implement anything new. But our goal is to make the instruction that we're already teaching in CKLA and Envisions more engaging, more interactive, and of course, more responsive to student needs to make learning more fun and to get kids to want to participate. So, again, thank you so much for everyone that completed our needs assessment survey. But as part of our technology needs assessment survey, several important themes emerged. Many teachers shared that students were not consistently using technology in interactive or student-centered ways. Teachers also expressed interest in improving formative assessment practices, finding better ways to gather student learning data, and identifying alternatives to traditional assessments. In other words, the need was not necessarily learning more technology, but for the sake of using the technology in a better, more engaging way. The need was learning technology that helps us teach better and helps students learn better. That is exactly what this professional development series is designed to support. So, what technologies are we going to learn in this series? Well, over the next sessions, we're going to focus on 4 practical tools. First, we're going to talk about Pear Deck, which allows us to create interactive lessons for both literacy and mathematics while embedding checks for understanding in real time. Second, we'll explore Flip, which gives students alternative ways to explain their thinking, reflect on learning, and demonstrate mastery through video responses. This is especially awesome for your oral students. And third, we'll use Google Forms for formative assessments and quick data collection. And finally, we're going to incorporate Google Slides, which this one also goes hand in hand with Pear Deck, as Pear Deck works really well with Google Slides, to use scaffolding instructions, supporting differentiation, and making lessons more accessible for all learners. Every tool that we're going to use is intended to connect directly to instruction that's already happening in both CKLA and Envisions. And as we're definitely a Google district, this is going to come very easy for most of you. So let's talk CKLA to all my ELA teachers. So let's give you an example. In a traditional CKLA lesson, students might listen to a story and then complete a traditional worksheet or answer comprehension questions. After this professional development, a teacher might instead use Pear Deck to create an interactive reading lesson where students get to answer comprehension checks throughout the story instead of at the very end. Students might then use Flip to retell the story in their own words, explaining vocabulary or reflecting on the story's message. Instead of only seeing written answers, we can now hear student thinking and better understand these misconceptions. And of course, for all of my math teachers, because I currently am a math teacher, so this one hits a little bit more hard for me. Here's another example of how Envisions Mathematics can also work really, really well in Pear Deck. Rather than only assigning practice problems on paper, teachers can now use Pear Deck to model problem solving interactively in real time. Students can answer embedded questions as instruction's happening, allowing teachers to check for understanding immediately. Then students can record a flip response explaining how they solved the problem and why they chose a particular strategy. This gives us richer information about student thinking than simply marking answers correct or incorrect. I also love how at the very beginning of your lesson, before instruction even happens, you can ask about how they're feeling about this particular lesson. They can give you a green thumbs up. I already have background knowledge. I learned this in 3rd grade, in kindergarten, in previous years. Or they might give you a thumbs down. This is brand new information that they have never heard of before. And you can kind of get a baseline before the lesson even starts. On the flip, you can also do this at the very end of your lesson. Now you can check for understanding once you've already gone through the entire lesson. They can give you 4 different smile faces depending on how comfortable they feel after the lesson has been completed. They can give you a green smile face that's huge saying, I got this, I mastered it, I can teach it in another class. Or a red frowny face, I have no idea what we just learned. I'm going to need a lot of reteaching and a lot of remodeling. Throughout the lesson, as you can see, there are story problems that you can show work and answer in real time, as well as more concrete subtraction problems that you can kind of rate and see exactly where your students are. So, student baseline data. Now I want to talk about something very important for this professional development series, your baseline data. Before we begin implementing technology tools, we first want to understand where our students are now. For this workshop, I'm asking each participant to select one previously taught either CKLA teacher or lessons from my ELA teachers, or an Envisions mathematics lesson or unit for my math teachers. Please gather student performance data from that lesson. So something that you've already taught before we learn any of these instructional tools. So any of your previous lessons, I want you to gather that data. For example, in CKLA, you might collect vocabulary quiz scores that you've already done, reading comprehension scores, fluency data, or writing outcomes. For my Envisions mathematics teachers, you might collect unit assessment scores, fluency checks, problem-solving accuracy, exit ticket data, or even practice buddies. We'll enter this information to a shared spreadsheet so that we can compare student outcomes before and after technology integration. The goal is not perfection, the goal is to measure that growth. So all the columns, we're going to have your teacher, curriculum, lesson objective, your baseline score, and any notes that you want to add. So let me show you really quickly what that looks like. You'll see a sample spreadsheet where you'll enter your lesson, objective, and baseline student performance data. Again, this should come from a lesson that's already been taught without the technology tools we're learning. Later after implementation, we'll compare these results to student outcomes after using either Pear Deck, Flip, Google Forms, and differentiated learning lesson supports. So as you can see, I just have a little example. Teacher A, she's choosing a CKLA lesson on comprehension. Her baseline score, 71%. Over the next several sessions, we're going to move on one step at a time. So what we're going to do in this PD, well, we're going to watch short training videos like we're doing right now, practice one technology tool at a time, redesigning a CKLA or Envisions mathematics lesson, collaborating with our peers, implementing what we create in our classroom, and reflect on those student outcomes. This is intended to feel practical, manageable, and directly connected to our teaching. So, I do have some homework for you. I know. Before our next session, please complete these 4 quick tasks. First, complete a pre-survey. This is going to be found in Google Classroom. Again, if you are not signed up for my Google Classroom yet on our professional development series, please reach out to me. I'll give you the class code. And then once you're in our Google Classroom, all of your tasks and checkpoints will be right in there. There is a pre-survey on technology that I would really appreciate you completing. Second, choose one CKLA or Envisions lesson you want to redesign. Third, upload your baseline student data. And finally, respond to the discussion prompt, again, that's in Google Classroom, describing one instructional challenge you experience in either literacy or mathematics instruction. In our next session, we'll begin building our Pear Deck lesson step by step. So in closing, thank you so much for participating in session 1. I'm looking forward to learning alongside you as we explore practical ways to increase engagement, improving formative assessments, and giving students meaningful opportunities to show what they know. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything at all, please reach out to me, email at stallcourtney@illyriaschools.org, and I can't wait to see you in Module 2 working all about Pear Deck. Have a good one.